So good morning and welcome everybody. For all of you whose faces I see, that's delightful. And I just want to say greetings and happy spring. And I'm glad that we're here together for this live Zoom service for the Unitarian Universalist Church of Pensacola. We'll begin this morning with the lighting of our chalice from Sarah.
We renew our commitment by the Reverend Suzelle Lynch. Each time we light the chalice, we renew our commitment to our Unitarian Universalist faith. With the spark of the match, we make it new again. As fresh and surprising as the first day, we encountered the spiritual community and we realized we were home.
Thank you. And now we have music for centering played by Denise. Our opening words this morning were written by the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. Some of you may know her. She was the president of Star King, one of our theological schools, and she's a wonderful writer and theologian. She says, "Let us gather together, making a place of honesty where we commit to discover how to live among the ruins, how we might move among the ruins and find what can be saved. With our collective liberation in each of our hearts, let us gather up those materials we need to build and rebuild beloved community in our midst. In gathering this morning, may we be strengthened for what lies ahead." Please join me in the words to our church covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Today we have the joy of recognizing Girl Scouts, and Lauren and Maddie are here to tell us a little about the Girl Scouts.
Good morning, everybody. So the mission of Girl Scouts of the USA is to build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. And in our Florida Panhandle counties, the organization serves several thousand girls from the age of 5 to 17 years old. How many in our congregation, if you want to just wave or hold up your hand, was a Girl Scout? So we have quite a lot. And normally when we're together, we stand up, and many people in the congregation are standing up, often more than are sitting when we ask that question. So I'm sure for each of you, you know that organization, the Girl Scout organization, has impacted your life in tremendous ways and continues to. The Girl Scout organization is 109 years old this year. The anniversary of the first meeting is March 12th. So during the month of March, it's a time for Girl Scouts to reflect on what it means to be a Girl Scout. And in particular, there is a day that the organization recognizes for girls to be acknowledged within their faith communities, and also to reflect on how the Girl Scout law aligns with their faith traditions, the principles of their faith traditions. So for us, as you use the words in the law that speak to being considerate and fair and making the world a better place, align with our principles of respect for the web of life and respect for the democratic process. This is my 11th year as a Girl Scout leader, and what I really enjoy about my involvement with the organization is the ability to guide and empower girls to grow in confidence and character through a variety of projects and skills. So for example, this school year, we have worked on badges that relate to being an animal ally, to learning about travel, how to plan and budget for travel. We've learned about financial literacy related to college finances. We've learned about the civil rights movement in Birmingham and the bombing of the church there. And we've also learned about mental health issues. And we also recognize the importance of civic life and involvement in our communities, that we have to take an active role. And through that, we have engaged in service projects, including sending cards to veterans, sending cards to children who have been diagnosed with a mental health condition, and providing holiday stockings to youth who are living in a group shelter due to abuse or family difficulties. So Maddie, what do you get out of being a Girl Scout?
I'd say out of Girl Scouting, I get lots of leadership and learning opportunities. And there's a lot of freedom that allows me to explore and develop new skills that I previously wouldn't have thought about or given much time to. So it gives me the freedom to, develop new skill sets and talk to people within my community. Branch out, I guess.
Good. Very good. So we continue. Our troop has been around for 11 years. I know at different times we've had girls in the congregation who have been involved in Girl Scouting, and we just appreciate and lift up the organization for all that it's done in our communities and for us as individuals, but in the broader society as well. So thanks so much for taking the time to listen.
Thank you, Lauren and Maddie. We appreciate that very much. Our story today is one that Mary Lee Donnelly recorded for us, and it fits really well in with our thoughts about beauty and our theme of finding beach glass and making something beautiful from something discarded. So our intro will be something you may have seen on the videos before, that's kind of holding us together for these next few weeks, and a story, and there's a place in it for you to get something that she'll tell you about, which maybe you've already gotten your thing to share, and we'll pause for a moment there, and then we'll share at the end of the story. Each of us is created a precious and holy vessel of embodied love. We have been through a harrowing time since last March that has shattered our sense of wholeness, body, mind, and spirit, like a glass vessel fractured into pieces. Let us enter into a season of recovery as we focus on the universal embrace of love that holds us all. beach glass begins as something whole and yet discarded. As it is tumbled by the sea, it is broken and polished until it becomes a treasured mineral gem. We do not embrace that suffering is necessary or God-given, but that suffering is a part of life. When pain comes and brokenness enters our lives, we gather in the resources for strength, friends and loved ones, a community that reminds us of the treasure that we all are, worthy of new life in the midst of hopelessness. In a year when pandemic has wreaked havoc on our world, we begin by affirming our journey to health and wholeness.
Good morning and welcome to our Sunday service this morning. I am going to tell a little story. It's titled Searching for Beauty. And it's a story actually about things that sometimes are broken or cracked or made in an imperfect way, but we still consider them to be beautiful. I invite you now to take a few moments to look around your home to find something that's broken that you'd like to share with us, for all of us to see. Go ahead and look. I have something that I'd like to share with you, and this is a cup and saucer that was my grandmother's many years ago, and it is now mine to keep. A little cup, and this saucer has a chip in it. It's right there on the edge. You can probably see it there. But this is still a special item, something that I have to remind me of my grandma. And you have things too that you like. I have a special and a new word that I'd like to practice with you. The word is Wabi-Sabi. Go ahead and say that. Wabi-Sabi. This word means and is meant. It's a Japanese word. I forgot to say that. It's a Japanese word, and it tells us that everything is beautiful, even things that are imperfect or just not made the same as everything else, not manufactured, and just might be broken, but you still like it. This is something special to you to keep. And the imperfection actually makes it even more special. There's also an art of repairing items and broken things, repairing them with gold. And that word for that is kintsugi. instead of hiding the cracks, gold is put there to show us the beautiful design that the crack has. And if I had gold, I would use that to repair this, but maybe not. I wouldn't have to. It's still mine. So we have sent you, sometimes we have scratches, bruises, cuts, or even broken bones with casts that are colorful, and you like to color them, or you invite your friends to color and write their names on them, and that makes it special. So kintsugi, it's another way of doing that. We've sent out with you, and I hope you've all gotten it, we sent you a coloring page that is yours to color and just to make it beautiful the way you want it to be beautiful. I actually colored my page, and I can show you what I did. Those are colors that I think are beautiful and make it a little bit special. So, Wabi-Sabi Kintsugi, 2 words for you. Now, I'm going to share a little saying, and I'd like you to repeat. Thank you for life. Even when things break, help me, help you repair broken hearts, offering color and love for the beauty of the earth. May it be so.
So we can unmute ourselves as we want to speak. And if you have something with you that you'd like to share, or if you colored the picture and you want to share, we're going to take time to do that now. And some of us are kind of used to just jumping.
I have something to share.
All right, Laura.
So I've had this guitar for almost 19 years now. And about 1.5 years ago, right before the quarantine, I went looking for a new guitar, thinking it would be nice to get something even better. And this was actually a really great guitar when I got it, but it's had to have a lot of repairs. The back was cracked because of the dry air in New Hampshire when we heated our house all winter. And the fretboard was starting to pull up. That's this part. If it starts to pull up, it's really hard to get it in tune. And so I looked at guitars, and Ed took me, and we looked together, and I looked some more, and it was going to be like $5,000 to get a guitar that sounded as good as this guitar, which I think was a couple $1,000s when it was new, but I had repaired it over the years and repaired it again, and the cracks still show. But I did one more repair, and it sounds better than any of those $5,000 guitars. And it's gone everywhere with me. So it's definitely Wabi-Sabi.
Great. Thank you, Laura.
Well, I'll go very quickly before I have to get in an elevator. I have, but cannot show you because I'm not home, a carved ivory dove that was found in my grandmother Adams, who was a war bride from World War I. It was found with her things, and I got to have this beautiful, it's a pendant. And I was crushed when I broke it, or where it got broken. And yet I love the poem that says, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly." And I've always loved that. And so now I just think of that in relation to my broken wing bird. And it has, it has a nice literary association. So it's special to me.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you.
Next. So we have a bowl that came with a set that Scott and I got for our wedding, a wedding gift. And a long time ago, I think about 10 years ago, it cracked on the inside. I don't know if you can see that, but it's been cracked for probably almost as long as we've had it, and it hasn't broken all the way, and we still use it. And I hope it doesn't crack all the way, but we still use it because it's a wedding gift and it was special.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lauren.
Well, if I can come in here,
Yes.
in the museum world, objects have a history called a provenance, and that's objects that have histories are somewhat more valuable, particularly the people that know the history. I'm showing you the picture of a bottom end of a Terry clock, and I'll give you, if I can open it up, and I don't know if you can actually read what's here. This is patent clocks invented by Eli Terry. And I love the bottom line from the time I first got it. Warranted if well used. In the Connecticut River Valley in 1814, the Terry brothers came from England to make clocks. And the available resources were limited. And so the works for this clock, which I don't have in it right now, are made of walnut, with the exception of the escape movement, which was brass. And over the years, I got it because I was the only one that could fix it. I kept it running for years. And it's, it has actually a sort of artificial, man-made, more recent works in it, and it, which will tell time. It's the Smithsonian has 3 of these things, and I don't think they need another. The problem was when I came down to Pensacola, the humidity started to destroy it. It was not made for this climate, and the face started to fall apart. I didn't have too many resources available, and I just poured varnish on the back, and it sort of kept it in place, but it lost. On the back of that face had been, everyone that repaired it for 200 years had left his name and the time that he had done the repair. So that is provenance.
Oh, wow. That's a very fascinating story. Thank you, Rob. Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Well, I have a little object that when I went to Italy, outside of Rome, there are the Christian catacombs. And I made a point of going. And when I did, of course, there's a gift shop, and I can't resist gift shops. They had little facsimiles of the oil lamps that they burned in the catacombs, and they burned in their homes, and they're in the shape of a fish. And as you can see, the tail got broken off. But of course I fixed it, because who knows when I'll be back to Rome to the catacombs to get another one. And this holds a lot of good memories.
Great that you could. Thank you.
I'll go next. I have an egg, this little claws in an egg that my grandmother had. And after she passed away, my stepmother let me have it. And I had small children, and they thought it would be a good thing to throw. So if you can see there on the bottom, you just see the wood under the claws and egg. But when I put it on its stand, you can't really see it. So I like to keep it and think of my grandmother.
Oh, very nice.
I can share one. I have a bowl, a small bowl that my daughter-in-law, Judy, she was doing pottery and she made this for me for my birthday a number of years ago. And it's hard to see it here, but it's a nice cobalt blue with some other shades in it, which is one of my favorite colors. And when she picked it up after it had been fired, she felt like it was ruined because this had happened. I don't know how well anybody can see this, but there is a handle
Inside the bowl.
affixed inside the bowl that was evidently on the shelf above this one, and it fell in. And there's one big piece of it here, and then little dots of that other pottery, which was a brown piece. And so she showed it to me and regretted that I wasn't getting my bowl for my birthday. And I said, oh, no, I'm getting that bowl for my birthday, because I now use it as an object of art. And I display it so you can see that piece inside.
Oh,
So just reminds me of her love for me and her effort to do this.
lovely. Thank you, Marcy.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I have been learning to do fused glass this last year. And this is a piece that I made. It's called a pot melt. I made this out of all broken pieces of glass, scraps, and they melted together. And then on top of that, when I took it out of the kiln, it was stuck the wrong way to the frame that I made it in, and it cracked across it and broke in half. And I put it together and it fused back together. And that's one thing, that glass is very forgiving because you can always refuse it. And the guy at the glass store always says, don't refuse to refuse.
Wabi-Sabi.
So Wabi-Sabi.
That's great. And how wonderful that you have been engaging your creative side during this time of isolation and withdrawal. Wonderful. I'm wondering if Jill is about to share.
Lisa can share.
Okay. Hi, Lisa.
This is a crystal that was a rock, a geode, and it got cracked open, but on the inside there's a gazillion little teeny tiny crystals, and it's way more beautiful than it ever was before. You can't really see it. And another thing that I was thinking of that's been broken and repaired and still looks pretty not beautiful, but to me it looks beautiful, is my foot.
That's right.
Yes. Yes, that's wonderful.
I'm just so glad to have my foot.
Yeah.
We're glad too. We're so glad.
Yeah.
Yes.
All happy for you.
And I'll show you something. This is a plate that was made by Susan Lawal, who is was my son's mother-in-law. And she didn't sell it because the colors didn't do right on this section. She and her husband did pottery and they traveled around and sold pottery. And I don't know if you can see, but anyway, the colors are not uniform all over it. And when my daughter-in-law arranged a memorial service, Susan's husband brought a lot of
her rejects to see if anybody would like them as memories for Susan. And I have some of her perfect pieces, but I'm really enjoying these that remind me of her and her perfectionism. She rejected them, so I get to keep it.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll tell my story. So this is Stella Blue. This is my drum. I got it at a Grateful Dead concert 33 years ago. The night that Kate and I met. I'd actually seen it at a number of shows before that, and I saved up. And the day that I got it was the day that I met Kate. And since then, it's got this crack, and so I don't use it very much because I'm afraid it's going to split all the way up because it is ceramic. But it's still a beautiful drum, and it goes. It holds great memories, and it's a wonderful life.
Excellent. Thank you.
Wabi-Sabi.
Wabi-Sabi.
I do have something to share. I've got another piece of ceramics that my husband made, and he worked really hard on it. And I watched him work out in the garage on that, doing all these beautiful layers for a long time. And then the things got fired, and it came out like this oval shape. I don't know if you can really tell that it's more of an oval than a circle. So it doesn't fit in any of our cabinets to use as a mixing bowl because it doesn't stack well, but but I love it, and I know he worked really hard on it. So I found it sitting in the garage. He didn't want to use it, but now I use it with I use it near my clay work. I work for a local artist, so I put my things in that bowl. So I still like using it, and that's sure is a Wabi-Sabi thing too.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I think we have a Vincent that did a picture that we may not have been able to see very well.
Oh, I'll put on my speaker view so I can see it. Oh, but you have to say something for me to see
There
it.
she is. All right.
Oh, beautiful. Great.
Tell us about your picture, Althea.
Oh, yeah.
The picture of the bowl I made. It's supposed to be broken a lot, but it's still beautiful, and yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. It is beautiful. I love your colors on there. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
It's really nice.
Yeah. Well, I brought something that sits out on my kitchen counter all the time. When my daughter, first time she went to Italy, she brought me back this souvenir, and it's, little cappuccino cups on something. And this cappuccino cup got chipped, and I was so upset because then in years later, I went often to Italy, and this is pictures from Siena. And that's one of my favorite places to just sit in this big piazza and have a cocktail or something. And so this has a lot of memories for me now. And if I had some gold, I'd probably fill that in, but I have not taken it off my counter, even though it was chipped. And I thought, oh no, this is no good anymore. But now, after today, I'm not going to think about that chip at all. I'm just going to enjoy this lovely souvenir of a place I like. So did we get all the sharing in? I'm so thankful.
Ed wants to share something. He's just getting it. Can you wait just a sec? Okay.
Sure. I'm so happy that people came prepared and ready to share with us. It's wonderful.
Okay, we're unmuted.
Okay.
I'm almost ashamed to share this because Laura is such a fantastic artist. But this is, I don't know if I can see it. Can they see it?
Yeah.
This is a watercolor picture I did, or painting I did, of the plane I first soloed in. And I painted it to remember that moment, to commemorate that moment. And I've kept it over the years. It's, I'm going to seem strange to say this, it's 50 years ago that I did that. So it's not from somebody else, but it's something that, you know, brings back the memory of the first time I soloed in a plane. So
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if that's Wabi-Sabi or not, but
That's not perfect, but it's beautiful, right?
yeah, to me it is.
Yeah. Well, that's what matters. And it brings good memories to you. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. It's a story about you that I didn't know. We have a video of a song by Peter Mayer. It's called Japanese Bowl. I think it's a beautiful song, and I love Peter Mayer. He is somebody who came across Unitarian Universalism at some point in his life and loved us and sings for us sometimes at different occasions. I hope you enjoy this song and video from Peter Mayer, who gave me permission to share with you.
I'm like one of those Japanese bowls that were made long ago. I have some cracks in me. They have been filled with gold. That's what they used back then. They had a bowl to mend. It did not hide the cracks. It made them shine instead. So now every old scar shows from every time I broke, and anyone's eyes can see I'm not what I used to be. But in a collector's mind, all of these jagged lines make me more beautiful and worth a much higher price. I'm like one of those Japanese bowls. I was made long ago. I have some cracks, you can see how they shine of gold.
Oh, I love that. If you want to find that again, you can look it up on YouTube. Peter Mayer, Japanese Bowl. Beautiful song. I'm going to take this time now to introduce the offering and just say that if you love this church and you want to see us continue on and prosper and be here for a very long time, I encourage you to text and give or send your check to the church, and let's keep this thing going. It's really beautiful. All right, I love seeing all the dancing. Thank you. What a great song for that. And thanks to Denise D'Angelo, our pianist. Sometimes we do breakout groups, but I don't think we need to do that today because we had one big breakout group. And I'll just say that it was a lovely, wonderful hour to spend with you. And if you've lit a chalice, you can extinguish it now, but we take the love and the joy and the fire of commitment with us wherever we go. And let's go together wherever we go. And so now you can unmute yourself and you can wave goodbye while we're still here together in all of our different voices, and it's all going to be timed different. Let's sing Go Now in Peace, and then we'll wave goodbye. All right? Go now in peace. Go now in peace. Around you everywhere
Singing around.
Wabi-Sabi.
Wabi-Sabi. Have a lovely Sunday.
Wabi-Sabi.
Wabi-Sabi, yeah.
Bye, Linda.
Bye. Bye. Hey, there's Jack.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, beauties.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.